Hi guys, welcome to my AWS series tutorial. In this first video, we will be looking at how to create our first EC2 instance and how we could be able to install our first web server into this instance and could be able to access it from the internet. So let's get started. Before this, you have to create your own AWS account. For that, I'll be mentioning a link in the description so that you could be able to go over there and create your own AWS account. And here I've already logged in onto my AWS account. Uh, it's called the AWS Management Console. And first over here, I'll be going over there and clicking onto the Services tab. After that, I'll be going on to the EC2. Now, if I would be having any such kind of an running instances or any of the other services, I could be able to quickly see it over here. So right now I don't have any running instances alongside with me. So I could be able to go down in the bottom, and I can see a tab over here called launch instance. Let me click on it and launch my first instance. So I'll click on launch instance. Uh, for this tutorial, we will be using Amazon Linux 2 AMI SSD volume type. Let's select on it, and here it will give us bunch of other instance type option. Here we will be choosing T2 micro option, which is free tier eligible. It won't charge us up to a certain limit from Amazon. For configuring this instances, as of now, I'm keeping everything to be a pretty much default status. Only the availability zone I could be able to choose anything, but I'll keep it on a default status in this video. So let me go and quickly add storage. So here I can select the default 8 GB volume of root storage given by AWS to me, or I could also be able to enhance some additional volume over here based on my need. But as of now, I'll keep it onto the 8 GB. From AWS, it's pretty much 30 GB that has been provided in terms of free tier basis, and anything more than that in terms of running instance for a month, it will get charged. So let me quickly go on to the next tab and add tags. I'll be using a tag called name as my first web server. I'll click on to the next configure security group. For this, as of now, I'll be using alongside with SSH, I'll be using another tab for HTTP, so that I could be able to access it from directly from the browser to log in into my instance. And I wanted to get it to be accessible from anywhere, so I'll select anywhere. I'll go into the review and launch, and I launch it. Now I have to create a new key pair for this. So I'll create a new key pair and I'll name it web1. Now you can pretty much be able to download this key pair, and it will get downloaded, and you can go on and launch instance. So again, I will be going on to the services EC2, and I could be able to see it over here whether my instance is launched or it's still in pending process. So I'll click on to the instances which are running. It's still loading, and here it is. I can be able to see my first web server instance in launched status, and with the availability zone, it's US East 1E, and with the instance type as T2 micro. Now once I will check on this instance of mine, it will be providing me additional details over here. Now for that I'll scroll up. I could be able to see the public IP over here. So what I need to do, I need to connect this private IP address or this instance that I have created of mine to my local system. For that, I'll be copying this public instance. I'll go onto the terminal of my local Ubuntu machine. I'll zoom it up. And I'll close this. You don't need to do that portion. You could I could now pretty much be able to zoom it up. So first I will check where my PEM file is. For that I'll be using a command called cd, and I think so it's in the downloads folder. So once I'm in the downloads folder, I can check my PEM file. It's web1.pem. It's available over here. And now to connect from my local machine to this first instance that I have created, I'll be using a command called ssh-i. Then I'll use my PEM file name. Then I'll be selecting EC2 hyphen user because we have created an Amazon Linux machine at. I'll be copy pasting my public IP. Let me check. Let me hit enter and let's see what happens. So here I can see that web1.pem file have bad permissions. First we have to change the permission to access web1.pem file. For that we will be using command called chmod 400 and web1.pem. Let me hit enter. Now if I will check the permission of this file, it's pretty much readable. Now let me try that previous command again. ssh-i web1.pem ec2-user at my public IP that I've copied it. I'll hit enter. And now I can successfully see that I have connected it to my EC2 instance from my local machine. So I'll clear the rest of the thing. And now let me log into this machine as a root user. For that I'll be using a command called sudo-i. So I'm accessing this machine or this EC2 instance that I have created as a root user. And now the first step that I'll be doing it over here is updating it. So let me update it. Sudo yum update. Okay. Now I'll be installing my first web server into it, which would be an HTTPD web server. For that I'll be using a command called sudo yum install HTTPD. I'll hit enter again. Click Y. Now it's pretty much completed. I have successfully installed the HTTPD server into my instance. I'll clear the screen. Now I'll go and use a command for starting this HTTPD instance. Sudo service HTTPD start. Okay. Now let me again copy this public instance and let me see if I can be able to access it from the internet directly or not. I'll copy it over here. I'll hit enter, and here you can see that I'm successfully being able to access my Apache web server that I've installed it onto my EC2 instance.